can't wait for what's going on in the kitchen because, Lucy, you were frosting one of these during my teas 20 minutes ago, and I just wanted to take it out of your hand and eat it.
I was about to say, did he do a little taste test?
He didn't, not yet.
He didn't. Well, this morning with Lucy Greer, we are making mini pumpkin cupcakes, and Lucy and I were just laughing about it because they are so many. They're so cute. Joe will get a good little shot of these right here, and Lucy, I'm taking this as their mini. That means you can eat just more than one.
They are
and lots of
quite dangerous, and they're so light. So when you eat one, it's like, oh, I get another one.
Are you warning me?
Yes,
because
warning
I'm
you.
tempted to kind of steal one of those right here.
Yeah, these are great cupcakes for adults and for kids. You know, with Halloween being on a Friday night this year, there's going to be lots of parties going on. So this is a quick, simple recipe that you can whip up and take to any gathering this weekend.
And we've been talking about these fall recipes for the last couple times you've been in here. We're continuing with that theme this week, and they look pretty easy to make.
Yeah, they really are. We can get started on our dry ingredients first, which we'll start with 2 cups of all-purpose flour.
And we're putting the ingredients up right now so you can see on the side of your screen what all it entails.
Good, good. And then we're going to have 1 cup of sugar and 1 cup of light brown sugar. And we're going to add a couple teaspoons of baking powder. We have a teaspoon of baking soda. We have 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice and a half a teaspoon of salt in there.
Now, Lucy, I always ask you when we're making cakes, when we're baking stuff like this, what is the best advice you can give? Because everybody wants it to be moist. Everybody wants it to taste good. What's the best advice, especially with these smaller cupcakes?
Yeah, that's a really good point. We are going to use, when we put together our wet ingredients, this recipe uses vegetable oil, which is going to keep these little cupcakes very moist.
Right.
And also, you know, we're going to have eggs and we're going to have vanilla, so it's going to flavor the cupcake as opposed to just using butter. That oil is going to keep it moist, and we're going to have lots of flavor going on. And the great thing about these little cupcakes too is they're a quick bake.
Right.
So they're not going to be in the oven so long, so they won't really have a chance to dry out.
And as we mentioned with the kids, these smaller cupcakes are probably a better choice because when you have kids and they're biting into the bigger cupcakes, the icing gets everywhere. At least with these, they could be maybe a couple of bites and they can fit them in their mouth.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm thinking about me. That's what I'm thinking about with this right now, how I'm going to eat this cupcake. So if you want to check out this recipe, it's right now on fox10tv.com. Mini pumpkin cupcakes, as Lucy mentioned. Halloween is Friday, getting ready for some of those classroom visits. Maybe you need something to take to the kiddos' classroom. This would be perfect. We're going to get those wet ingredients coming up in the next cooking segment.
Gonna eat those. Gotta try this finally.
What do you think?
Back in our Studio 10 kitchen with Lucy from Greer's Market, and I've been excited about this all morning. Watch this.
Uh-oh. They are nice and bite-sized. We'll see how many of those Joe goes through during this segment.
Oh, okay. Challenge.
We have already gotten to work on our dry ingredients for the pumpkin cupcakes with cream cheese icing that we're going to make today. I told y'all they were good. We put our flour, light brown sugar, pumpkin pie spice, a little bit of salt, baking soda, and baking powder in here. And I just used a fork to make sure that there were no lumps in here. And now we'll get to work on our wet ingredients. We have 4 eggs, so we'll add these to the bowl. We have a couple teaspoons of vanilla extract. We have 3/4 cup of vegetable oil, and I mentioned to Chastity earlier that this is going to help our little cupcakes stay nice and moist. And now we're going to add 1 can of pumpkin puree. And this is not the pumpkin pie filling mix. It has all the seasonings and such in it. This is just the 100% pure pumpkin.
They're not taking a wide shot forever, so there you go.
So we're just going to get this in the bowl and use our hand mixer to mix it up. And I mentioned that I thought this would be a great recipe to do right before Thanksgiving with all of the parties going on this week at schools and of course this weekend. This recipe comes together in a flash and it makes quite a few. We're going to use our little mini muffin tins and one recipe is going to make about 60 cupcakes.
And for example, we had to bring the treats for daycare today, so we could have brought these had we known about these recipes.
Next year. There's always, that was, what was that, 4? Joe. Joe's going to be sick after this, probably. So it's a quick recipe, and these are only going to bake in a 350-degree oven for about 15 minutes. So I just mixed up our wet ingredients, and then we're going to add the dry ingredients. We can just add half at a time.
I'm done chewing that one.
Okay. I don't know if you wanted to comment.
See, the only reason we can do this is because you're so good, Lucy, at this. That you're one of our chefs here that can just keep talking and being fantastic.
But I like your input too, and I'm glad that you're tasting them.
Well, you did say we'll see how many he can eat.
I did challenge you.
During the segment.
That was a silly challenge. I should have known that you'd take advantage of it. And this is one of the recipes that I came up with a couple years ago when October came around, and I love to use pumpkin. We've been using pumpkin and sweet potatoes all month long during October since I've been here, and I thought this one was just great to finish off the month with. And I love doing the October sweet potato and pumpkin so much this month that for November, every Wednesday, I'm going to be doing Thanksgiving type things.
That's
so we'll
awesome.
be doing side dishes and kind of getting ready for Thanksgiving.
Very cool. That's
Yeah.
a great plan. Well, I tell you what, keep working on that. I'm going to have one more to make it an even 6. I'm going to leave 2, 1 for Sarah and 1 for Chastity. 6.
Oh my gosh. Basically, I was threatening him from over here on the side. I was like, you better save me one when he was doing all that.
He ate 6 of those with no drink.
Lucy, yeah, he's probably that's probably where he's headed right now. Lucy should have never challenged him, ever. Joe will always take you up on your challenge.
But the good news is we know that they're really tasty because he wouldn't have eaten 6 if they weren't good, and Lucy always makes good food. And welcome back to Studio 10. We are in the kitchen with Lucy Greer from Greer's Markets and Catering. We're making mini pumpkin cupcakes, and I know you can't smell it because you're at home, but it smells delicious in here. We've got a whole tin of pumpkin muffins that are baking right now, pumpkin cupcakes that are baking, and it smells so good. And now we get to do one of the fun things, which is make the frosting.
Yes, we have these baking. Sarah and I just checked, and they're almost finished. We bake them at 350 degrees for about 15 minutes.
Okay.
And so in the meantime, you can mix up your frosting. And I have 8 ounces of cream cheese softened and 1 stick of butter, and I just let these come to room temp. And then you're just going to mix this up in your hand mixer. And then it is a really simple recipe. We are just going to sweeten it up with powdered sugar. And the beauty of this is when you use powdered sugar, it just dissolves so well as opposed to using like your regular sugar that will be kind of grainy.
I always find frosting recipes to be a little daunting, but this one seems like it's pretty easy.
And everybody loves cream cheese frosting, or I don't know who doesn't.
It's really good. Now, you're how much of everything do we have? You said 8 ounces of softened cream cheese, a stick of butter, and how much, what are you putting in now?
That was 1 teaspoon of milk, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and a splash of vanilla extract. This is going to loosen things up, and the lemon juice really kind of cuts a little bit of that sweetness going on and balances it all out. So that's a really nice addition. So we're just going to mix that, and then we have 2 cups of powdered sugar. And this is going to make plenty. I mentioned earlier that this recipe is also great because if you're using these mini muffin tins, it makes about 60.
That's a lot.
So
of
it
muffins.
is a
That's
lot.
Great.
And it's great for, you know, if you're taking it to a party or a classroom.
Well, I was just going to say, I have found in experience that little cupcakes, kids do so well with little cupcakes, like at a class party, as opposed, a big one's almost too big. So this is a perfect size to take to a class party at school. This is the perfect time for that too because it's Halloween and fall. So good stuff. And I think it's amazing that when you blend, the powdered sugar does not fly everywhere. Is there a secret to that?
Start on low.
Okay.
Start on low for sure. And every hand mixer is different. And it takes just a couple minutes to get this mixed in. Once you kind of have it mixed in a touch, you can put up the speed and you can be generous. you know, the cupcakes are so little that it doesn't take too much to ice it. So this is going to be plenty of icing, and you can also play around with the toppings. You can put candy corn on there or chopped nuts.
Make it very festive.
Yes.
Now, we have this whole recipe for you on our website, so you can go there and get all the details on how to make this and put this together yourself. We're going to finish this up during the commercial break, and Chastity and I are going to taste one. Thank you
Good.
so much,
Thank
Lucy.
you.
We'll be right back.